Go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Eric Thrasher, hearing officer for San Francisco Public Works. Cerise Waiters is the clerk of this hearing. Today's hearing is being recorded via Zoom and will be available afterward through a link on the San Francisco Public Works website, sfpublicworks.org. As this is a virtual hearing, there is no sign-in sheet. So if you would like to receive information about the results of this hearing, please send an email to the email address listed on the hearing notice. Today's public hearing is being held to consider the following 4 items. Order number 20528, to consider the removal of one street tree without replacement at 609 Multi Street. Order number 205209, to consider the removal of one street tree with replacement at 1127 Munich Street. Order number 205210, to consider removal of one street tree with replacement at 3757 21st Street. Order number 205211, to consider the removal of one street tree with replacement at 4428 23rd Street. All of these orders were approved by staff and the public is protesting. My job as the hearing officer is to gather the facts for the hearing item, listen to your testimonies, and help our Director of Public Works make determinations. I will not be making any decisions today. Instead, I will forward the findings from this hearing and make my recommendations to the Director. The Director will make the final determinations. When the Director's determinations are made, the Department will notify you of them if you have provided contact information. Today's hearing will proceed as follows. First, I will ask Public Works staff to speak and present the case. Then I will allow the property owner or the applicant to speak. Then any member or members of the public or witnesses who wish to speak may speak. And finally, the department, if the department would like to address any comments or make any final comments. Each speaker will have up to 3 minutes to speak. The clerk will monitor the time for all speakers and will indicate when the speaker has 30 seconds left. If you are a party to this proceeding, I will call on you to speak. If you would like to use visual materials in your presentation, please let us know before you speak. You will then have the standard 3 minutes to provide your comments. If you are a member of the public or witness who wishes to speak, wait for me to call for public comments, then use Zoom's raise your hand feature if you're on a computer to put yourself in the queue to speak. If you're dialing in on your phone, dial *9 to indicate that you're raising your hand. When it is your turn to speak, I will recognize you, or a member of our team will recognize you. If on your phone and you're muted, press *6 to unmute yourself. If you would like to use visual materials in your presentation, please let us know. Comments and questions should be addressed to me and not to the department or to the applicant. If you cannot finish your comments within the allotted time, you may submit written testimony to me by the end of this hearing. If I feel that a question is warranted, I will ask the question. After all comments are completed, I will close the item. If we can now begin the hearing, may I have Public Works make its presentation?
But the first there's kind of a new item. The first item is call for public comment from any member of the public who has something to say that is not related to today's agenda. So if there's anyone that would like to speak, you could raise your hand. Okay. It does not appear that we have any additional public comment, so I will share my screen and begin the hearing. Do you see my screen?
Yes, Steve, you're good.
Cool.
Yep.
Hi, Steve Keller, Bureau of Urban Forestry. The first case is 609 Moultrie Street, removal of one tree without replacement. This is a photo of the property. It's currently a vacant lot, and there are 2 trees. The tree on the right is a small crabapple tree, I believe. the one proposed for removal. The larger tree on the left is going to stay during construction and be protected. This is the proposed project. It's a new home with a garage and driveway. The proposed tree removal is in the location of the planned driveway. And because there will not be room for a new tree on the lot, the property owner will have to pay a tree in lieu fee for the non-replacement of the tree. Additionally, the architect has worked with the Bureau of Urban Forestry to help design the sewer line and water line to keep it as far away from the existing tree as possible, the larger mature tree, to try to lit impacts to the root system. Here are some close-up photos of the tree that was approved for removal. It does have some green leaves in the canopy, but it is in a state of decline. There are many dead branches, and there are obvious signs of trunk decay at multiple places along the trunk and scaffold branches. Here are some more photos of the trunk decay. In this photo, I'm showing that one of the main branches has already died, and the branch is starting to dry out and crack. And the same patterns of bark cracking is evident on different portions of the tree, leading me to believe that the entire tree will likely die in the coming years. Yeah, so again, it's removal of one tree in poor condition for the construction of a driveway and new home, and because it's not being replaced, a tree in lieu fee will be assessed. That is all. Thank you.
Steve, can I ask you a quick question about that?
Yeah.
Can you go back up a slide or two? So I thought you'd said originally the small crabapple tree was remaining, but it's actually,
Sorry.
that
Correct.
little one is the one that's coming out,
Yes, the little one is the one that has been approved for removal.
and the larger one is
The
gonna
large,
stay.
yeah, the large nice tree on the left is the one that will remain.
Okay, got it.
Okay,
Thank you for clarifying. Is the property owner or applicant available who wishes to speak? Okay. Are there any members of the public who would like to speak about this tree
There,
removal?
the applicant raised their hand. It's Craig Steele.
Okay. Clinton, can you call them in, or Cerise?
Yes, go ahead.
Ann, go ahead.
Hi, I think I'm unmuted. Is that right?
Yes,
Yeah.
you are.
Oh, great. Yeah, I'm Craig Steele. I'm the architect, and I just wanted to reiterate our main concern is just protecting that beautiful mature cork oak and supporting its long-term health. And that's why we've pushed the driveway as far as we could to that other side. And that's the only thing I have to say about it. It's just like that's really a huge priority is protecting that tree.
Great. Do we have any members of the public who wish to speak? Okay, I guess, does the department have any further comments to make?
I do not.
Okay, let's proceed to the next order. Order number 205209.
Yes, this order is in regard to 1127 Unique Street, the removal of one street tree with replacement. Staff approved the removal and the public has protested. This is a picture of the tree with the posting notice. It is an Arbutus marina. It's infected with it's a kind of a common canker disease that essentially degrades the tree from the outside in, and it causes the wood to desiccate, and then these very large cracks develop in the trunk, and then this slowly leads up into the canopy, causing the entire tree to decline. It's kind of a fairly new disease that showed up in this species maybe 5 to 10 years ago. Unfortunately, once it's infected, it's really just a slow decline until it ultimately dies. This is a picture of the where the tree is planted and showing that there is room for a new tree to be planted once it is removed. And again, this is just a Google Street View photo. The tree on the right is what the species is supposed to look like when it's healthy. And the tree in the middle of the photo is showing the tree in its current condition. The canopy is 90% dead, and there's a large crack along the trunk. In this particular case, the property owner submitted a tree removal permit, and the property owner has also committed to watering a new tree once this one is removed. So it's removal of one dying unhealthy tree with replacement, and we have a commitment from the water to help from the property owner to help establish and water a new tree. Thank you.
Is the applicant or the property owner available to speak?
Okay, we have Ron who has his hand up, and go ahead and unmute Ron, and you're free to speak.
All right, I am unmuted, I think.
Yes,
Yep.
you're good.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Well, it seems pretty self-explanatory. The tree needs to be removed and we want to place a new one. Obviously, we took care of the existing tree. You see it in beautiful form. So we would do that again with the new replacement tree.
The two trees were planted at the same time.
Oh yeah, that was my wife. She said that those two trees were planted at the same time, same day, Friends of the Urban Forest. One succumbed to the disease and one didn't. I guess that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the public that would like to speak? Go ahead and use the raise your hand feature. If you have a phone, I believe it's *6 or *9. *6 to unmute. I always get it messed up. It looks like we don't have anyone else. Okay, not, we'll turn it back to the hearing officer to go to the next item.
Yes, the next item is order number 205210 for the removal of one street tree with replacement at 3757 21st Street.
Hi, Steve Keller, Bureau of Urban Forestry again. At this site, we have removal of one tree with replacement. The reason for removal is there's going to be a remodel at the property, and with the addition of a garage and a driveway. The tree is currently in line where the planned driveway will be installed. Here, this is just a site plan showing of what the sidewalk would look like after construction is over. They've designed the utilities to allow for a new tree to be planted. And they've also committed to planting a large stature species, and they will also plant a slightly larger nursery-sized tree that is than is typically required. This photo is just to show that this tree is not in good condition. It's a Corymbia physifolia, or red flowering gum. The tree on the left is in its current state. It's looking very chlorotic, and the tree is supposed to have a dark green foliage, and clearly it's kind of got a very pale yellowish white and some red. Just showing that. And then the tree on the right is a photo from not that long ago, from November 2020, and even in this photo it looks much greener. And again, the photo on the right is just a tree that's actually across the street from this tree, and this is what a healthy individual for this species should look like. So we felt it was a pretty easy approval for the Bureau to have an unhealthy tree removed and then a new one planted at the owner's cost, and they will plant a large stature species that will increase canopy over the next decade. Thank you. That is all.
Is the applicant available to speak? The property owner?
Okay, we have Jack Chin, and go ahead, Mr. Chin, you can speak.
Hi, this is Jack. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Great, thank you, guys. So I'm the owner of the house here, and we agree with everything that was mentioned so far. This tree is definitely not in a good condition. It's looking kind of sad, and so we would like to take advantage of the opportunity of moving it to the side of the house, to allow for a remodel to add a garage, but also to plant a tree that's healthier and large, just as large as the one across the street, and just provide more foliage for the street.
Okay, thank you. And does anyone else have additional comment? Okay, we have Mr. Nolte. Go ahead.
Yes, good morning. I wanted to speak on this item and the prior item too, because both are replacement trees and I don't hear the timeline for either of them to be replaced. And then also the issue would be the size and then also make sure the agreement to what by the property owners or is part of the order to replace these two trees. So that was the item number 4 and 5, because I wasn't able to find my raise my hand feature on my computer on that item. So I would like the staff to state for these two items, what is the timeline for the replacement of the two trees and what size box will be replaced, and also a commitment from the owners, part of the order to water the trees for 3+ years.
Mr. Keller, do you want to respond back to that question?
Yes, sure. On the previous item at 1127 Unic, the replacement tree will likely be a 15-gallon replacement tree because it's not development related. And the owner would be responsible to water that tree for at least 3 years until it is established and thriving. And then on this, and then that tree should be replaced within 6 months of that tree being removed. Again, that's 1127 Unic. And in this case, 3757 21st Street. Once the tree is removed, it'll be required to be replanted at the end of the construction project. Their DBI permit will not get signed off for final occupancy until the correct tree is planted. And in this particular case, they've committed to planting a 36-inch box tree, and they will be required to water and establish that tree for a minimum of 3 years or longer if it takes longer to establish. Thanks.
Thank you. Let's close that order and move on to the next order, number 205211. Consider the removal of one street tree with replacement. Staff at 4428 23rd Street. Staff approved the removal and the public has protested.
Yes, this is another development related tree removal. This is a picture of the site plan at the property. The home is going through a remodel and they're also adding a garage. The driveway is currently planned where the existing tree is. It's more or less would be located where the utility pole is, and then in between the utility pole and the existing tree. But we didn't feel there was enough room to preserve this tree and build the planned driveway. This is a photo of the tree in its current condition. It's a Washington hawthorn, or a Cretaceous is the genus. The tree is healthy, but it has quite bad structure. In the past, it was topped quite badly, and the resulting structure is not great. Over time, this bad structure could result in branch failures. I wouldn't say this tree is necessarily healthy. I mean, hazardous. I mean, it is healthy, but not hazardous. but due to the location of the planned driveway, and because it's not an amazing tree, the Bureau of Urban Forestry felt it was okay to approve this tree for removal and have the applicant plant one replacement tree. This is the site plan showing where the new tree would be planted. It would be shifted down to the downhill side. And because we haven't talked about this with the applicant yet, but due to the loss of a healthy tree with a decent amount of canopy, if the hearing officer wants to warrant additional mitigation on top of planting a replacement tree at the curb that's highlighted in the yellow area, they could also require a small stature species in property that would be located where the blue star is. So there is room to possibly do 2 replacement trees to help make up for the loss of the healthy tree. Additionally, we could require an increased tree basin at the curb and increase the create a sidewalk landscaping garden at the curb to help offset the loss of the canopy of the existing tree as well. And at this particular site, the property owner will plant a 24-inch box tree, likely a medium stature tree due to the overhead utility lines at the site. They can't plant a large tree because it would grow into the overhead utility lines. And the property owner will be required to plant the new tree at the end of construction and then maintain and water that tree until it is established. Thank you.
What size did you say the replacement was going to be?
A 24-inch box.
Okay. Is the applicant or the property owner available to speak?
We have 2 people ready to speak, and I'm going to allow the person as Christoph. Are you the applicant, or is it Brooks?
Yeah. Hi,
they're
this is
both here,
Christoph.
yeah.
I am the applicant, but I'd like Brooks to speak first, if that's okay.
Okay, absolutely. We'll go ahead and let both of you speak. And if Brooks can unmute your microphone. Yep, you're both good to go, and we will start the time.
Okay, great. My name is Brooks McDonald. I'm the architect for the clients working on this remodel at 4428 23rd Street. The house is known for its historic character, which everyone loves on the street, and we're very excited to be preserving that. However, the house and all the landscaping has fallen into great disrepair over time and is needed of updating. One of the major programmatic elements that we're going to put in is a garage with a new permeable driveway, and that necessitates removing this tree and having a new standard curb cut. To us, the tree actually looks like it's in very poor shape due to some of the things that Stephen mentioned, but I think we'd had no complaints from any of the immediate neighbors for the removal of this tree. It tends to drop a lot of debris. It's pretty sort of mangled and old. It's not the prettiest tree on the block, especially because there's some beautiful willows and other things. It's also very close to the power pole, and we think that's a little bit dangerous, and the new proposed tree will be further down the sidewalk away from the power pole and actually probably provide greater height between it and the lines overhead. We also are proposing a larger tree box, one that will be irrigated, the cut for the tree, and I'm sure that we are open to expanding that from what we have drawn at 4 feet to even being larger as well. And I'd also just like to point out that we're offsetting the removal of this tree by other landscaping measures, both in the back and the front of the house, which really have had no landscaping done seemingly over the last sort of 50 years. And so we just think in terms of a carbon footprint point of view, we're actually going to be benefiting the neighborhood, San Francisco, and that's with the landscaping as well as other sustainable measures that we're taking in the design of the house. I guess I'm just looking through my notes here. We're going to be supporting this with irrigation, mulching, and also planting around the tree. And yeah, I guess I just wanted to point out again that there's no complaints from any immediate neighbors. I think the complaint was from another party who's from outside the area. And that'll conclude my comments.
And I'll jump in here now. I'm Christoph Nickermans. I'm the property owner. Just to say, we had planned on planting a small scale tree in the front yard, kind of actually very close to where that blue star is located. So I have absolutely no problem with that. In addition, when we started this process, I had actually discussed trying to help plant 2 additional street trees, one the adjacent neighbor down the hill and one across the street. We haven't not applied for those permits yet, just because it's taken us 2.5 years through planning and building to get to this point. And we had planned on doing those things at the same time. I'm still committed to trying to see that through. I've worked with urban forestry and Friends of the Urban Forest before, and I'm happy to contribute to this, to the street trees on the street.
Steve, if the property owner wishes to add that second tree, can that be included on the original permit for the replacement, or does that require a second permit?
No, it can all be done on the original singular permit.
Okay. Are there any members of the public?
We have Mr. Nolte has his hand up. Go ahead, Mr. Nolte. Mr. Nolte, you're good. You need to unmute your microphone. We need to wait for Mr. Nolte to unmute his microphone. And then we will start the time.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, you're good.
Okay.
You're good.
Okay, great. I just have one question. Where the blue star is at approximately, would that be also considered where that location would be is where a significant tree would be planted on the property? That's my only question. Thank you.
Yeah, I can go ahead and answer that. Yes, in the picture that's currently on the screen, the area in the yellow rectangle would be the required replacement street tree, and then where the blue star is another site within the front yard on the private property that is clear of utilities that would be an acceptable spot to plant an additional tree.
It looks like that's closer to the property itself, to the house.
Yeah, exactly.
Landscaping.
Yeah, exactly. It's the front stairway is flanked by two landscaped areas. I believe it's currently existing landscaping, and they will preserve that.
Okay, if there are no further comments from members of the public, we can move on to do we have one more?
No, that was the last item.
Okay. All right. If there are no more comments for any of these items, then we can close this agenda. And I will be making our recommendations to the director. Again, if you have signed up by email, you will be advised of what the final outcome of this hearing is. Thank you for participating, and have a wonderful day.
Well, thank you.